sharing our stories connects us. Listen and be connected. Join us for the conversation meeting weekly at the intersection of community and culture. Hosted by Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter. Joe King Carter. Joey, why is my seat so low this morning? I don't know. I can't get it. I can't barely see Jessica over the monitor. Hi, everybody. It's noon. It's Wednesday. You're listening to WMNF 88.5 here, right here in Tampa.
Tampa.
In the heart of Tampa Bay, the Bay Area, let's put it that way.
Yes, and all of our small satellite communities that are so important to us. So Tampa means, when I say Tampa, I mean the whole darn...
the region.
West Coast. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to us on WMNF.org from anywhere you happen to be in the world, welcome to those listeners as well. My name is Mario Nunez. As always, I'm seated alongside my broadcast partner,
Joe King Carter. Good afternoon.
You heard from him earlier, and you'll hear from him the rest of the hour. So sit back, relax. If you're driving, remember, keep your hands at 10 and 2 and be very, very careful on the highways and byways. If you're listening to us on your computer or from your favorite device, we know that you're probably resting comfortably and you're ready to participate
10
today.
and 2. It wasn't 10 and 2 and 6 on bottles of Dr. Pepper.
10, 4, and 6. I thought it was... Maybe it was 10, 2, and 6.
I think it was 10, 2, and 6.
10, 2, and 6. And that was
I
because
have no idea why.
Well, no, I'll tell you why.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you why. Because, the time I spent in Texas, I did some research on that. Those were the times, 10 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, 6 in the evening, that you were supposed to reach for a Dr. Pepper because it was mid-morning, right? It was that instead of a coffee break, you reached for a Dr. Pepper.
Mid-afternoon.
Mid-afternoon, and then in the evening after you got off work. So, Dr. Pepper,
I see.
in its original formulation, and it's the reason it tastes like it does, it included a certain juice of a certain fruit that when you drink it, it has a certain result. I'll leave it at that. Can you guess, Joey?
I can guess automatically because I have a tremendous dislike for Dr. Pepper. I can't stand the taste.
What was the fruit and what was the juice?
I believe it was a prune.
It was prune, and it was prune juice. And you're exactly right.
But, it gives Dr. Pepper that subtle...
that unique...
It's like an anisette.
Black cherry.
It's like an anisette flavor, and I don't like that flavor, so I don't like Dr. Pepper. But I'll tell you, now that you've explained the history of that...
Yes, sir.
I think to myself, imagine the ad man who went in...
And had to pitch that?
Had to pitch. He says, listen, we have an idea. We'll have this circle on the bottle that will have 10, 2, and 6 on it, and people will have to figure out that means that's when you're supposed to drink this. And wouldn't you, as the owner of the company, say, well, what about 1 o'clock and 3? And what about 7 o'clock? And it just seems like an odd pitch, doesn't it? Really think about it.
But this is back in Mad Men times, and in the 1960s, all kinds of... cutting-edge advertising was taking place, and everybody was trying to be unique. And listen, we can do this on another week, and I think we could even do some of it today if we feel up to it.
Yeah.
But early television and the fact that we had all of those kids' shows on Saturday mornings was fertile ground for advertising agencies.
Well, advertising in general was just fertile ground.
It was blowing up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
During that time. And, you and I are both... we were of that generation, so we spent an inordinate amount of time in front of the TV, and I don't regret any of it.
Well, also magazine ads and TV commercials, and the whole commercial world was just running crazy with ways to try to get people. It's the early days of marketing indoctrination.
Mad Men. It was, and America. We're nothing if we don't sell anything.
Yeah, those early days actually go all the way back to the beginning. It goes all the way back to P.T. Barnum and some of the earliest products that were sold in America.
So, why did the trains come through the middle of town with the precious cargo, the tigers and lions and bears? Oh my! Why did it just roll right through town? It wasn't that even in and of itself the arrival of the circus. Wasn't that a form of advertising, letting everybody know the big tent's going up?
Yeah. Trains. The train system was used a lot. Back in the beginning, it was a caravan of wagons. Imagine that. Seeing the wagons roll across through the community, that must have been special. If you look at your animal crackers box, you'll see the animals are actually behind bars, not in a cage, but in a wagon cage, right? And of course, now we have a completely different sensitivity to animals being caged.
That's
But,
right, and
you
we
know,
can talk to Duncan about that because he did a show today that was pretty amazing. I don't know
Yes.
if you listened to it.
Yeah, well,
I always do listen to Duncan's
I
show.
am the walrus, cuckoo,
Cuckoo, yes,
Yeah.
sir. We learned more about walruses today than we knew was even possible.
Fascinating. Thank you, Duncan.
Thank you for the shows that you do each and every Wednesday,
Yeah.
Duncan, because we learn a lot from you.
It was good.
And it's always a privilege to follow you as well. Joey, how was your week last week? I mean, what exactly took place in your life between then and now? And if you want to talk about the government shutdown, you can end it with that.
Yeah, you know, here's a thing that happened to me. We come in here and we talk about community and culture, and a little less so about the political information that's available to you on our other public forum shows. But we delve a little bit. But, you know, I had a thought this week, and the thought came about the movie A Face in the Crowd.
Okay.
If for those listening out there, I'm sort of I guess I'm a movie buff. A cineast. Do you know what a cineast is?
I would love to know what a
A
cineast is.
cineast is a person that loves and adores and studies cinema.
Oh,
Yeah.
cineast cinema.
A cineast,
Okay.
yeah. It's like
Wow, I'm learning today.
there we go. So I'm a big fan of films, and
As I am too.
Yeah,
As I am
and
too.
so A Face in the Crowd is a film made in the late 50s. I think it was 1957. Directed by Elia Kazan, the great director. And I'm sure most of you out there are familiar with it. But if you're not, let me just encourage you to check it out. It might even be available for free somewhere, like on YouTube. It is called A Face in the Crowd, and it stars Andy Griffith. And it plays a kind of a drifter grifter who goes from town to town conning people. And along the way, an agent who is out for television, played by Patricia O'Neill, discovers him, brings him into the fold. He becomes a TV star, and all of those skills that he has learned over time to manipulate people now becomes a superpower for him on television. And he has the ability to look right into the camera and make America feel good about his homespun homilies and his little insights. So he becomes really powerful and famous. I'll leave it there because
No correlation to today.
But he is
correlation.
He's kind of a bad guy, and
Yeah.
he's a guy that's sort of manipulating people. Then the other film that I was thinking about at the same time was how another because that's a critique of American culture. Another film I was thinking about was Dr. Strangelove. And I think most people are familiar with Dr. Strangelove. Stanley Kubrick, incredible cast of characters. But it's basically a comment on war and the military and all of those kinds of crazy things, government.
What I read about Joey, let me interject. What I read about before we get too far away from A Face in the Crowd and Andy Griffith was that role, that it took so much out of Andy Griffith to play that character.
Yes.
Which he played exquisitely.
Perfectly, yes.
And that it kind of pushed his career in another direction because he knew he might be typecast as the bad guy.
Yes.
And he didn't want that for the longevity of his career. So
Correct.
then he became Andy of Mayberry, and we know the rest of the story. And later also he was Matlock. Am I not correct?
Matlock, and of course Andy Taylor of Mayberry.
Andy Taylor. But how about
But
that?
he did play villains in a couple of films, and he was an excellent villain because he did have that kind of thing that made you want to like him. But the point is, I was thinking about A Face in the Crowd, and I was thinking about Dr. Strangelove, and I was imagining if you merged them together, and somehow Lonesome Rhodes was his character's name, Larry Lonesome Rhodes. If Lonesome Rhodes somehow could drop into Dr. Strangelove, you would have something that happened, I think, this week, and it's this. The president of the USA and the director of war invited 600 to 800 generals.
From 1 star to 4 star. That's correct.
Yes, right. To be
Quantico.
Yes, all in one room together. And
what could go wrong?
And these two men the director of war, who's a former talk show, former newscast personality,
weekend talk show
for Fox
News. That's right.
And
Pete Hegseth,
President Trump, who avoided military responsibilities
for deferrals,
had legal deferrals, but they were deferrals. Who, by the way, in his family, nobody has served in the military in the Trump family for 5 generations.
Let that sink in.
I think that you'd have to go a long way to find in most American families 5 generations deep of no military engagement. In my family, I think I'm the first person that didn't serve in the military forever. I mean, all of my grandfathers and served on both sides of my family served.
It was Southern culture.
But I mean, all my grandfathers, my great grandfathers, my great great grandfathers,
and your uncles,
yeah,
and
they all
uncles.
go back. Yeah, they all go. They were all in the military, and so my point is that the Trump family has avoided that responsibility, and for these 2 men to be lecturing these generals who many of them have gone through an amazing process of becoming first a general, then a 2-star, a 3-star, a 4-star. For these 2 men to lecture them is I don't have words to describe what that is like. It is like in fact, if it wasn't so bizarrely weird, it would be hilarious, because I thought to myself, imagine what is going on in the minds of these generals sitting there. They're sitting there taking this stuff from these 2 characters, and just imagine what they're thinking, what privately they are thinking that they can never say to anyone.
Well, it was the case of 2 very unserious people addressing arguably some of the most serious people with some of the most serious jobs in the United States.
I think so. Yeah, I think if you're a general,
the incongruence of watching that unfold on live television, it defied logic. But then again, that just speaks to the last.
Well, it speaks to where we are. I understand, but of all the things that have happened, that keeps us occupied in these various daily riffs of stuff in which we are being forced away from the real issues of what's happening with the economy and poverty and people in our country and the very rich oligarchs. What's these daily little circuses that we're watching. But that particular circus really got to me, and I thought to myself, this is a profound moment when...
It absolutely is.
It's hard for the brain to actually kind of accept that that's reality. Let me put it this way. Neither Elia Kazan or Stanley Kubrick
could have conceived of that
and ever thought about putting that in one of their movies, because it would not be believable.
I would also venture to guess that maybe, and they probably didn't talk amongst themselves so much as individually, thought, we can't allow this to happen. We swore an oath to the Constitution. This may be what ultimately stops this insanity, is that the brass, as it were, they formulate a plan amongst themselves to say, no, it stops here with us. Maybe not in the judicial system, but it's going to stop here, because the United States military is not going to be used for this function. It's just not going to happen.
It will be interesting.
We are not going to turn against our own citizens.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what the kind of backlash of all that is. Certainly, if you want to come into a situation where you say, well, we've gotten a little loose and we need to tighten some things up, maybe they shouldn't have beards. I'm not sure what beards have to do with war.
Anything,
but
except perhaps I read this morning that it's really it's kind of a. Okay, so it's discriminatory against black soldiers, because black men, as most of us know who have friends that have that problem where shaving becomes an issue because the hair kind of grows back into the skin, and constant shaving creates, a hazard. It's an unhealthful situation. So they grow the beards, and they have spectacular beards as a result. But the reality is that's discriminatory against that group of men. They also talked about phasing women out as active soldiers in the theater of war. I mean, it is so grotesque, really, what took place. And not to mention, you're bringing these gentlemen in from 10 time zones away to take them away from their very serious work, to put them all in one place. Joey, if somebody really wanted to do some damage to this country, all they would have needed to do was just find out where that building is.
Yeah, right.
And blow it up. And blow it
It's
up.
amazing.
And blow it up.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it
isn't
would take the United States down to its knees.
By the way, the president at one point said, and I don't have an exact quote, but he basically said, you can applaud. Literally, there was no, during the entire event, there was no applause.
Because there's never supposed to be an applause. Because that group of men, they don't applaud. They don't applaud. They're just listening. They're there to take their orders and go back about their business.
So there is a cultural
Carnival.
moment that I wanted to comment on.
Well, that's what, and we should say right up at the top of the show, this is The Conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Wednesdays, every Wednesday on WMNF, meeting at the intersection of community and culture. And right now, we're talking a little community and we're talking a little culture. But let's lean back into the community part of this conversation. Joey, what's about to happen next week? Because next week is going to be a fun week here at WMNF. What's going to happen?
Well, we're going to have our semi-annual, quarterly fundraiser.
Quarterly.
Yeah. Well, it's almost not quarterly.
No, it's three times a year.
I don't know
there's a term for that.
Trimester. It's the trimester.
Okay, I like
but
it.
at any rate, we're going to have our fundraiser next week, folks, and we are excited, and we hope you're excited, and we hope that you will support the conversation in every way that you possibly can, because we love being here and we want to serve you.
Exciting things, too, that we're going to be announcing, fundraising events that we're going to be doing in the not-too-distant future when the weather cools just a little bit more.
Yes.
You're going to want to participate in, get you a chance to be with Joe, myself, and I'll leave it at that.
A special package that we hope to announce on
Next week?
fundraiser, yes.
That's right. That's right. So, we haven't even really, and truthfully, these are our listeners. We haven't even given out the number yet for today's conversation so that
Right.
you could join us. But our listeners know better because they know the number never changes. And if they want to get in on the conversation and talk to us, they certainly can. I'll give the number out in just a moment. But I think before that, we'll go ahead and let Bill offer his comment. He wants to talk to us a little bit about a face in the crowd. Hey, Bill in Tampa, what say you, sir?
Hi, thank you for taking me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
When I heard the name of the movie, Face in the Crowd, I stopped what I was doing because finally, thank you. Finally, somebody is seeing a correlation between that movie and what's going on today.
Absolutely.
And that's just my opinion, not the station. Okay, that's just the way I see it. Okay, and what I'm getting at is that movie is sort of like somebody is sending us that movie through the airwaves saying, watch out, this is going to happen. But if you remember, at the end of the movie, I don't know who the characters are. I just know them by face. The gentleman says, right now, in so many words, right now, Lonesome Road, you're washed up, but there'll be another one. And now we have the other one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's just my opinion.
Well, Bill, listen, Bill, I'm glad you said that, and I agree with you completely. And I think that the movie I think we could use the word prescient in its prediction of the future. And what the movie was really doing, the script writers and the director and the actors were portraying a very possible scenario for the way that our society is kind of set up, because we love charismatic leaders and we love people that offer all the answers. Oh, I've got the answer. We love that. And that means if you have the answer, I don't have to do anything now. And so we as a culture, we seem to love that a lot. And it opens the door for someone who understands how to feed those needs and manipulate people. And this movie was made in 1957. There's no internet. And, if an updated version of this movie would be probably difficult to make because it would be competing with reality.
No, they could not make that movie today because it would be stopped, and you know by who.
Amen to that, brother.
It would be stopped, and you know that. I'm sorry. I used to be a Republican. Now I'm a Democrat. But
Hear, hear.
Oh, listen. When I first registered to vote, my father said, "Your grandfather was a Republican. I'm a Republican, and you're a Republican." And after about 20 years, I said, "I don't think I'm a Republican. I don't make that kind of money, and I don't think that way." But and that was it.
Yeah.
But, and the first person I voted for was Ronald Reagan. Okay. And so, okay, that's fine. Okay, I could say that. However, but Lonesome Road is happening again, and I just cannot believe that I just heard it on the air, and I thank you so much because
thank you,
I'm
Bill.
glad there's people out there with a lick of sense.
Thank you, Bill.
And, and one more thing, speaking as a Democrat, I'm sorry to interrupt you. These people who are being laid off and all these generals who had to sit there for 75 minutes and listen to all that bull, I hope they all voted for him. Let them sit there and say, what the hell did I vote for?
That moment of reckoning, personal reckoning, and hopefully enlightenment is what we need. We need those pods to start waking up all across the country and realize that, and I think they are. I mean, that doesn't get covered enough. But, the demonstrations have not stopped. They are continuing. This is going to cause a lot of problems. This shutdown is going to cause a lot of problems. As a former employee of a national airline, not national airlines, but of one of the major carriers here in the U.S., I wouldn't want to be going to work right now and having to deal with TSA employees. Not to mention if an already taxed and stressed air traffic control system is at the breaking point. I mean, it's a frightening proposition to be on an airplane these days and have to trek through an airport. And if that's going to be stressed even more now, as these employees are going to have to go to work at the same level of integrity without a paycheck, I don't know how you do that.
I just hope they all voted for him, every one of them.
Well, Bill, let me just say, Bill, that thank you so much for recognizing that. And art, some people feel that art is not really an effective part of our culture, but I consider, of course, all the film
100%.
World is art, and I think that film is a film that, I encourage anybody out there who has not seen this movie to please look it up and watch it. Bill, thank you for your comment.
Thank you for your comment, Bill. Always thank you for listening and calling in and contributing. And next week, if you think about it and you want to throw a few ducats our way, we'd appreciate that too.
Always take some dough.
Yeah, we've got some great swag. That's the one thing about WMNF when they do their fundraiser. We have a team here that really is conscientious, and they put a lot of thought into the swag that we always give away with contributions, of course.
Yes.
And I think this. We've seen it already because we get a sneak preview. It's exceptional. We hope that you guys will participate. Thank you so much, Bill. We appreciate you.
And I thank you very much, too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. That's Bill here in Tampa.
I'm excited by fundraisers. When the fundraiser happens here, it's exciting for me because that synergy of everybody working together. Volunteers are here, and we're all volunteers for the most part. I mean, there's a few staff folks, but all the volunteers are here, and they're working, and they're giving, and boy, the sense of community here is really strong.
It's fun. It's fun, and it goes on for a whole week.
Yes.
So every show has their responsibility to raise X amount of dollars, and you can't be shy about it. We use every tool in the box that they give us to work with, and of course. It culminates the day of, and it goes on. Fundraising is 30 days prior and 30 days afterwards to meet our goals. So it's a long period of time to raise the funds. But that day in particular, it's very reminiscent of the Jerry Lewis muscular dystrophy.
We got their attention.
Labor Day telethon.
Yeah.
We were talking about the movies earlier, and when you were describing A Face in the Crowd and the different iterations.
Strange Love, yeah.
I was also thinking about Nightmare Alley. There were two iterations of that movie.
Yes.
And the charismatic character.
Yes, that's Nightmare. The original
was Tyrone Power.
Tyrone Power, a movie that he pushed very hard for, by the way. He that movie almost did not happen, Tyrone Power. And he wanted to be in that film because he felt that, again, a little bit like you were talking about Andy Griffith's character and his career, Tyrone Power was afraid that he was being pushed into the category of being a pretty boy.
Yes.
Because he was an incredibly handsome gentleman. And so he wanted to play a character that was a lot more complex and had this downside. And he
really
did
dark.
Because it's dark, yeah.
Bradley Cooper showed us how you play that character in a real dark way. So, movies can...
But, I like the original better than the second one, personally.
Well, the second one was kind of sexy too with Kate Winslet, but Tyrone Power, they didn't have all the technology back then, so you had to do it with black and white film. You had to do it with shadowing, and of course makeup as well.
Right.
And then of course the actor's face.
Well, see, I see black and white as an advantage in filmmaking,
in film noir, especially.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this that we could talk movies all day. Maybe we should.
Hey, Mario.
Yes, Joe.
What happened to our guest?
Well, we should talk about that a little bit.
Yeah,
now.
let's talk about that.
We did have a guest all lined up for you guys, and we promoted it on our Facebook page. So, in case you guys are wondering why we're jabbering on because, well, we can. Number one, Joey, let's ring a bell for that. and number two, because we have things that we need to say as well.
Yeah.
But and we will have our guest back on the show. For those of you that are Tampa Bay Rays fans, and oh, by the way, Joey, the Rays were officially sold. The new ownership is going to, I think, next Tuesday have a press conference and introduce themselves to the community. I heard yesterday that one of the places that they might be looking to maybe put a new stadium in is on the Tampa side of things in the Ybor. Is it Ybor Channel? Ybor Harbor. Ybor Harbor area.
Yeah.
Which, if you've got so much water around you, why don't you find a place by the water, like the old Al Lang Field, which is where the Rowdies play.
There's
now
different
in
ways
St.
of looking at that, but I would be much more comfortable with putting it on the south side of the Selman Expressway than on the north side.
I know, because you live over there.
Yeah.
But the reality is, we just want him to stay in the area. I think for all the right reasons. Tampa and its history with baseball.
There are many locations in Tampa that could be excellent. I mean,
100%. The dog track comes to mind. I mean, there's the West Shore Mall area. That's that mall is destined to be at some point repurposed. That land,
right?
It's right off the interstate. So and there's even talk scuttlebutt about the HCC, Hillsborough Community College, and the campus being converted into.
Interesting.
There's acres there as well. So,
yeah.
There's plenty of opportunity. But our guest today, Orestes de Estrada, which most of you know from his time with the Tampa Bay Rays, was going to be with us today, and we're going to find out exactly when we can have him back for you guys. Orestes has some great stories, and recently he's been in Japan. Because he's been hired by the Nippon League, I think, to either manage one of the teams or be a general manager. He's got an amazing story. Born in Miami, of Cuban descendancy, speaks fluent Spanish, of course. He's Afro-Cuban to boot. He's 6'4", 200 big man pounds.
Yeah,
and he speaks fluent Japanese.
Yeah,
and he had a go in Japan in the professional league there when things kind of slowed down a little bit. He found himself in the Yankees organization with a couple of players ahead of him in the depth chart that were kind of blocking his ascendancy to the big leagues. So he got an opportunity to go play in Japan. And for 3 years in Japan, he was essentially, I'm using air quotes, he was essentially the Babe Ruth of the Japanese league. He just set it on fire.
Wow.
And they remembered that. And this is over 30 years ago now, and they remembered that. So we'll have him back on the show.
Absolutely,
a great friend of ours and a great friend of WMNF's. So Orestes, we'll have you back on the show real soon. Joey,
we're always, by the way, lining up guests for that we think are not just celebrities. We look for people that we think
interesting people in the community.
Interesting people that want to tell a story, and that could be a person that nobody knows prior to now.
That's right.
And we look forward to all of our guests in the future. We're excited.
As we see Duncan collecting his gear, getting ready to drive back south for the 2.5, 3 hours that he does each and every week. Maybe we'll get Duncan to come in and do the show one day.
Why not?
I want Duncan to come in and do the show. Jessica, can you do that for us as our producer, our engineer producer? Can you get him to come in and do the show?
Yeah. So we do have it's a family affair, and we bring in various personalities from WMNF and behind the scenes workers, and we enjoy that a lot, and we do it occasionally so that you out there who are listening can get some sense of who that person is other than what you normally know of them.
So we blew right past the 12:30 mark of the show, and that's usually when we take a pause for a station ID, for an ID for the show, for any kind of ID that our producer engineer Jessica deems worthy, and we'll do that right about now.
Hey, y'all, I'm Annie Ellis, and you're listening to The Conversation with Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter on WMNF 88.5 FM, Tampa.
Annie, sweet Annie. Oh, that's wonderful to hear her voice.
Dreamboat Annie, as it were. Right? Dreamboat Annie.
So that's Annie Ellis on the Sustainable Living Show.
Mondays at 10?
Yeah, and she's an old friend and an amazing human being and a wonderful, loving soul.
And finally, her home is fully operational and
she's doing some amazing stuff up there in Virginia. Yeah.
And we saw that home we saw the foundation being poured, the land being cleared.
Oh, it's amazing.
And now it's completed, and she's living her best life.
Yeah, she's taking it on. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, she's doing a great job. So, Annie, thank you for that wonderful station ID. If you'd like to join us here on the conversation, if you've got something interesting you'd like to contribute, we'd like to hear from you. You can call us at you can call us at 813-239-9663. You can send us a text. We're looking for your text at 813-433-0885. Emails always welcome. Jessica scans the emails and she reads those that she deems worthy. And she says she's just mouthed the words right over the monitor. A lot. She said, we have a lot of emails, Jess? Good, then we'll stop talking for a minute so you can talk. DJ at WMNF.org. Here comes Jessica. She just whipped that microphone out in front of her mouth. And Jessica, let's hear what you have to say.
Okay, so we heard from Annie.
Annie?
Yes, she wrote us. And she loves the film references, and she says a while back a face in the crowd wasn't available to watch anywhere. It felt even like that was intentional. She says she actually watched Idiocracy last night, and still the similarities in how the intelligence levels could be reducing quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it just
Thank you,
reinforces
Annie.
how artistic freedom is so important.
It is important. Absolutely important.
Because you can't spell STEAM without the A, and if I'm not mistaken, the A is for arts.
Right. Yeah, but
otherwise it's just STEM, and STEM's cool too.
We don't want a
society without art.
And we don't want art at intersections. We don't want painted intersections, although they're safer.
Yes.
The stats show. But
What
we
up
don't
with
want that there because that's art. We don't want art.
What else you got, Jess?
Donna from Dunedin says that the movie Face in the Crowd was filmed in Piggott, Arkansas, and that's in Clay County. Her older brother, Alan, was in the pool scene, which was built for the movie, and as a gift to the town, he can be seen jumping off the diving board.
Donna from Dunedin, we love that.
Wow, Donna, that's really cool.
Donna, thank you so much for that
nice.
information. They're
Piggott.
listening. They're listening. Piggott, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Wow, amazing. Yeah.
Donna from Dunedin. Thank you, Donna. So, Jess, keep
Next,
rolling.
I will watch
You're
it
on a
again.
roll.
Because I watch films
To watch
over
Donna's
and
brother
over.
jumping off the diving board.
Yes, Donna, if you're listening, Donna, I will watch your brother jump.
off the diving board.
Yeah.
All right, Jess.
Okay, so Kevin Williams is a big fan of Mad Men.
There you
and
go.
watched it through 3 times. Don Draper, he says, was using another man's identity, therefore fraud.
Yes.
The underlying subtext that advertisements were also a fraud to sell product. Love your show, he says.
And now we have AI, and you see the latest. Everything's a controversy with this president, but the latest newsworthy that they won't even show it on some of the CNN. I don't think is showing it. MSNBC's not showing it because it's just so hideous. They're creating and promoting on platforms like X and Truth Social AI generated videos that show horrific images and the voices and the faces. And, if you don't know any different, if you're just not savvy enough to know even what AI is and what it can do, and you see that, you think it's real. You think they're blurring the lines, Joey. They're blurring the lines.
Oh, they've been doing that for a long
intentionally,
time. Intentionally. And this particular administration has been actively using that system of confusing reality and diversion. And in the very near future, it's going to be very easy for a president, I won't say this president, or any leader to say, well, we had to send the military into this city because there was mass rioting, and then they will show footage of the mass rioting that never happened. We are very close to that. And it used to be that if you didn't see it on the 6 o'clock news, then it wasn't, that's what made it real. But that entire system is now collapsed, really, and it's in the process of collapsing. And it's going to be very difficult for us as human beings to follow this in the very near future.
Well, and listen, please don't exhaust us with the platitude of there are good people. There were good people on both sides, because no, that comparative, that false narrative is just not true. You can make an argument that some people in public life, some politicians, I don't try to use that word too often because it has such a horrible negative connotation. Public servants is probably a better, more apt, when they do their job the way it's supposed to be done, when they are serving the public. But when they're doing nefarious things that are not good for the generation for the general population, Gen Pop, then that's when they become nasty politicians.
Well, yeah, I don't want to get down into the. I would never want to get down on this show personally into the realm of the conflicts between Democrats and Republicans. I would rather address the various programs and the various actions of specific
watch what they do, not what they say. Watch what they do, not what they say.
What is happening currently now? We going back in history and talking about Bill Clinton or talking about Richard Nixon. It's just like there's a whole bunch of stuff there that will just take you on
talking about movies,
endless mind.
Talking
trip.
about movies, Joey. It's in the beginning of Gumball Rally. Remember Gumball Rally, the movie where they?
I do.
Yeah. One of the early scenes, one of the two characters, and I forget which ones they are. They're in a Ferrari. They're in one of the fast cars.
Right.
And he says, the Italian driver, he goes and he reaches up and he rips off the rearview mirror and he throws it away. And the passenger in the seat next to him turns and he says, "What did you do that for?" He says, "Because we're not going backwards."
Yeah.
In other words, why are we looking backwards? We're not going backwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's just continue to go forwards. I will say this: artificial intelligence can be used for very good, and can be used for very bad.
Of course,
and I like
it's a tool.
And I like
so
to
far,
think, and I like to think that by and large, if you take a large sample size, there is one side of the political spectrum that is trying their damnedest to represent the most people and trying their damnedest to do the most good for the most people, and there is one side that is not. And you guys can decide which side is doing either or. But don't tell me that there's good and bad on both sides. Don't give me that false narrative, because that's not true. AI can be used for good. AI can be used for bad. And we're going to play now for you about a 3.5-minute song, I believe it is, that we played just a couple of weeks ago as we continue to honor. We're still in the middle of Hispanic Heritage and Culture Month. This is what AI can do. It can.
Well, we're beginning today with a different month.
That's right. Well, that's right. So we have a double storyline that we can cover.
Right.
And we should make that clear as we come back on the disabled, I believe it's disabilities month.
Disabilities.
So let's listen once again to this song as a palate cleanser, and it's called I Remember Tampa, written by Mike Baluja in salsa form.
Tampa, the way she used to be, the places we would run to, the faces we would see. Yes, I remember Tampa, those precious memories. A city rising on the move, a simple yet progressive groove. I remember Tampa, and she remembers me. Walking through McFarlane Park, beneath the moss-filled trees, children riding bike till dark, cutting through the tropic breeze. I remember Tampa, those sweet soft memories, the city that I call my home, the home from which I'll never roam. I remember Tampa, and she remembers me. I'm a Tampa native, can't I remember Tampa, and she remembers me. She remembers me.
You know, even if you're not Latino, as I am,
Yes.
even if you're not Latino, if you sit still throughout if your foot doesn't at least tap, or if your shoulders don't shake a little
Yeah,
bit,
it's
or if
good
your
stuff.
hips don't swivel, but that's what AI can do, right? AI can do positive things. It can uplift spirits and society at large. Or it can be really, really dark, and it's like anything else. It's like the computer itself. You know, it's what we put into it is what we get out of it. So, what am I saying, Mario? What are you saying, Mario? I'm saying just be nice, be kind, understand that this is a tough thing, man. We're all trying to get through,
Yes.
and we should all look after each other, man, because at the end we're not going to get. Nobody's getting out of this one.
Yes.
But while we're here, we should make it a good ride. We should make it something that we aspire to be a better person. The holidays are coming up, Joey, and you know what I mean. We're going to look into the holidays now, and you're going to see the morning shows with all the studios festooned with poinsettias, and how are you supposed to feel great about that? People are hurting right now.
Yes, absolutely. And this is what that's where the real issues are. The real issues are not about all these circus events that are being put before us. It's the issues of the very wealthy and the very poor, and the economy and respect and civil rights. All of those are now what's really on the table.
We need to pull things back towards, from the brink, I should say. All right, let's go to our phones because we have somebody waiting patiently online. Joe from Venice. Joe, are you there?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the music. I love the beat of the Latin music. It's great.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much.
Just about something to feel good and feel positive about. Upcoming October 18th is another No Kings Day.
Yes,
And
sir.
I went to the rally in Venice last time, and it's a great feeling and a great crowd. If you need something to pick up your spirits, find your community where it's going to be and just go to it for an hour. It's great.
I love that, Joe.
Nothing like being with your tribe, Joe. Nothing like being with your tribe.
And the beautiful speech to all the generals and stuff. Well, Hegstaff says we can't have any fat generals. Well,
Meet President Fatty.
Who's the top general? He's the commander in chief, right?
The top fatty. The top fatty.
He's got to go on a diet. We'll get him some. I don't know, Nutrisystem or something. I don't know what we'll get him.
Jenny Craig. He can't even button his jacket for crying out loud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jenny Craig. There you go. All right, that's it.
I appreciate it,
Joe,
Joe.
you're the
That's
best.
a great comment.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. That's Joe from Venice. You had a comment that you wanted to share with us.
Oh, yeah. Well,
from Kevin.
Kevin, I hope Kevin's still listening. Kevin was talking about Don Draper and Mad Men and fraud. And I just want to say that, for me personally, I was kind of bumping along as a teenager in life, and I remember very distinctly, wow, I'm really going to date myself now, that I and my parents would watch on Sunday evenings the TV show Bonanza. And Bonanza was sponsored by Chevrolet. It's a Chevrolet, it's that.
See the USA.
See the USA.
In
It's
your
a
Chevrolet.
That's right. And so there was even commercials of Haas Cartwright with a Chevrolet. But the point is,
the great Dan Blocker.
there was I can talk about Dan Blocker
For a minute.
But he's an interesting character, the actor. But the point is, I had this realization. I don't know where this came from, but this realization came to me that everything that we have in our world has been sold to us. that they were selling cars, and now I woke up and I realized that everything was sponsored for sales, and everything is being sold. And if you start to really push that idea, and I don't want to get too meta at the high level, but we are a culture of consumers, and we are all being sold all the time. The clothes you're wearing, for the most part, for most people at least, the food you've bought, the clothes you're wearing, everything in your life has been sold to you. It's been marketed to you through a commercial system. And in that consumer process, what happens is that your personal neurology, your mind has been manipulated to accept certain ways of seeing the world. It's a very profound thought, if you will contemplate it, that by being constantly manipulated, could that set you up for being someone who was easily led in a political world? So, part of what I think we are seeing now in 2025 is the result of 100 years of marketing that has caused us, so many of us, to see the world in a skewed way.
And that's prophetic, because we are living that experience right now.
Absolutely.
And when you're in the eye of the storm, or when you're in the middle of the storm, not the eye, because the eye, as we know full well, represents the calm, you don't know it. You can't. When you're in the dense fog, you don't know how dense the fog is until you get some perspective.
So I want to thank Kevin for that comment.
Absolutely.
Because he reminded me of all that, and I think it's a great comment that he used the word fraud, and it is a kind of how do I call this? It's kind of a acceptable cultural fraud that we all experience every day when we're being told that cereal that's full of fructose corn syrup is actually healthy.
Yeah, it's a low level of toxicity that we will accept, we will consume in all manner of the word, all definition of the word consumption. Let me just say that our fans are great. They chime in where they can. If they call in or they write in on our Facebook Live that we're doing on Facebook Live, Susan Royal Jones, who's watching and listening, she says that Gumball Rally, in the movie Gumball Rally, there were two drivers that drove the Ferrari. One was an actor named Tim McIntyre, and the other was the great Raul Julia, right?
Yes.
So those were the two actors that played in the scene, and so thank you, because this is what our fans do. They help us out when we need that little help to get us over the top. So there's a bell for you, Susan. What a great movie if you've not seen it before.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So we have
another
we have a phone
email.
call or an
Yeah,
email?
we did.
And we have a phone call as well, so we'll get to that in just a second.
Yeah, we didn't want to miss John in Ozona. This is in reference to Dr. Pepper when you all were talking about. Okay, so I doubt I will be the first to point it out, but 10, 2, and 4 was the slogan. Reportedly, it was inspired by a Columbia University study that showed that blood sugar normally dropped at 10:30, 2:30, and 4:30.
Fascinating.
He is absolutely right. I stand corrected, because now
Yes, I stand corrected,
Now
too.
that I think about it, it was, at 10, when you said 10 to 6, 10, 2, and 6, it didn't have the same phonic resonance that 10 to 4, because you can say it as 10, 2, and 4, or you can say it as 10 to 4.
Right.
What time is it? It's 10 to 4.
Yeah.
So, yes, Dr.
But
Pepper.
that's so interesting that they were using a scientific analysis to support their marketing.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Brother, now they do it with AI,
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have the sample size now, because we've been here doing this for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, full disclosure, man, Dr. Pepper still rocks my world a little bit. Every now and again. How good was Dr. Pepper, Joey?
I told you earlier I didn't like Dr. Pepper.
They tried to create Mr. Pibb to chase it down, right?
Really?
Mr. Pibb was the
another drink I didn't like.
Yeah, there you go. Coke and Pepsi, whatever it was. They came up with Mr. Pibb as the knockoff. But we know that. And
Let me go on the record. I was a root beer man.
Attaboy. A&W?
All root beer. I've never met a root beer I didn't like.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Let's go ahead. We've just got a few minutes left in the show today, which I think has been a very exciting and rambling and fun and rollicking kind of a show.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead.
We rollicked.
Yeah, we
There's no doubt
rollicked a
about
lot.
that.
So Simon's always has interesting things to say from Lakeland. Simon, what say you today?
I would have thought you guys would have been a Tab man.
There you go. Remember Tab and Fresca? Come on.
There you go. Hey, listen, that music, I'm ready to order some pollo guisado with some arroz gandules.
Vamos, arroz con gandules. Wait a minute, my Puerto Rican brother. Wait, Simon, are you telling us something we didn't know?
Well, that's okay. I got to keep some something secret.
I love it.
No chicharrones and no morcilla.
Oh my gosh! Listen. My parents are big fans of the morcilla. I think that's an acquired taste. That's blood sausage for those
That's
of you that are out there. That's old school. Exactly right. That's old school. And some of the things that they used to eat, Simon, I'll share with you. My father will tell you about how his mother used to scramble, sitting down, scrambled eggs and brain. Okay, like cow brain. Because it's a protein. It's a source of protein. And I get it, Pop. Back in 1928 when you were born, and he's still alive, he's 97, maybe they didn't have a lot. And certainly Publix wasn't available then, so, they had to do what they could. But we've morphed now, Simon. We don't have to eat brain anymore or tongue or any other parts of those animals. God bless them. But, it's just a necessity. It's where we are in our cultural advancements.
Well, what I wanted to say culturally,
Yes, sir.
Two things that I think you're going to end up talking about months down the road is the halftime show at the Super Bowl. That is going to be contentious. Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny, yes.
Yeah, and the other thing I'd like to ask you guys, I don't watch a lot of movies, but on TV shows, why was there never a black Columbo?
Or something like, we had Shaft in the early 70s, right? So he was a private detective, but you're right. The Columbo type of, I don't know why. That's a great question. Peter Falk, the late, great Peter Falk.
Do you think that people would have been looking at the black Columbo as being someone that is not as bright as a white Columbo?
Well, that's a kind of interesting concept because Columbo is, in my impression, showed in every episode that he was actually the very smartest brain in the room. He was putting together who the murderer was when the murderer was always the person who thought that they were smarter.
Right.
So
it's the black quarterback syndrome.
Columbo is a kind of a Sherlock Holmes, really.
Correct.
And so I would think that a black Sherlock Holmes would work just fine.
Well, we have one now. Watson, if you watch the show on CBS on Sundays, it's an incredible show with great writing, great acting.
Yeah.
And what you're alluding to, Simon, is a little bit about what we experienced in the 60s and 70s, early 70s with the phenomenon that is the black quarterback. Black quarterbacks weren't something in the NFL that you saw because I guess coaches and general managers, there was a misconception that they couldn't handle running an offense. But boy, do we know something different now, don't we?
Well, that's true, but Cunningham and Bobby Douglas of the Chicago Bears.
Remember him?
White running quarterback. So there was a distinction between a athletic, quote unquote, athletic quarterback and a pocket passer.
Correct.
And I think the trend at that time, Tom Brady was, and Montana.
The pocket passer.
Now you've got Philadelphia Eagles and what have you. You've got individuals who are combining both of that aspect of the quarterback.
Baltimore Ravens comes to mind as well. Yeah, no. Kansas City Chiefs. All of these guys that are super athletes that can do anything on the pitch. Listen, we're up against the clock, Simon, but your calls are always so wonderful and insightful, and we thank you for listening. Hey, be with us next week when we do a little fundraising, won't you?
Yeah.
I'd be more than happy to. I wish the community radio was more community radio, but I thank you, and I thank you for taking my call.
Of course, Simon. Thank you.
All right.
That was great. We just up against the clock. Look, Joey, got a minute to go.
I know. By the way, I come from Georgia Carter's. Pig brains and eggs was a part of my childhood.
I told you. And listen, we did get a call that we dropped a little bit earlier. I saw that it said something about frosty root beer. There's so many. There's Barks. I mean, there's so many root beers that are out there that are good.
When it's creamy, it's wonderful.
Brother, I put my root beer in the freezer.
I don't drink it anymore.
Root beer floats in the summertime are amazing. What's coming up next?
Well, first of all, I want to say, as always, special thanks to Jessica.
Yeah.
Jessica G, the OG. She was a master today. And coming up next, it's the Music Wednesday with Sam. Sam's over there waving her hands, saying, I'm here and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Thank you guys for listening. We so appreciate you for being there. We'll see you next week when we're doing our fundraising. You're listening to WMNF 88.5 in Tampa.